Hello, everybody. I have decided to go live because I have just currently dealt with something today with a person, okay? And it has to do with the person, it has to do with a situation, and it brought up this particular topic, okay? So let me make this clear to anybody, okay? Let me make this perfectly clear. Now, I know this page is called Time in the Word, okay, which is good, but this is a special topic, and it's to cultivate help for you with any relationship that you get into, okay? So I'm going to make it simple, okay? If you get into a relationship for lovey-dovey feelings, for to be basically, if you get into a relationship in order for to always have lovey-dovey feelings and not have any problems, you're in the relationship for the wrong reason. Okay? Relationships have ups and downs. Okay? Relationships have ups and downs. Same as everything else. Okay? Let me make it simple for you. There's going to be days when you drive each other crazy. There's going to be days when you get on each other's nerves. There's going to be days where the communication drops and comes back. There's going to be days where things get hard. Okay? If you get into a relationship only, or if you decide in your mind that I'm going to get in a relationship and I'm always going to keep lovey-dovey feelings going with no problems, okay, then you're going to have a problem because that's not a relationship. Relationships have ups and downs, good days, bad days, hard days, tough days, easy days, everything. Everything in between. The point is this. You decide to be with someone for better or for worse. Even if it's never meant to be a marriage, even if it's just a friendship, it's still for better or worse. Why? Because you need to accept someone for who they are. Their good things and their bad things. The things that you love about them and the things you can't stand about them. Okay? You need to learn to accept the person fully. Okay? Now, let me tell you why making any decision about any relationship or making any decision about anything on your feelings is wrong. Here's why. Okay? It's like you making a decision based on what you feel at the moment, okay? Is like building your house on sinking sand, on quicksand. It's going to sink in a hurry. Okay? Why? Because feelings often change. Feelings often go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, just like just like a heart monitor when you go to the hospital. Okay? Feelings go all over the place. Okay? Feelings, like I said, feelings go up and down. Let me give you more example. Feelings, okay, so let's go through the track of a relationship. Okay, you get with someone. Oh man, they are so nice. They are so nice. Things are good right now. Okay, I want to be with them. I want to marry them. Okay, right? Oh, okay. Now we're having a problem. Now we're not. Oh, okay. Now we're having another problem that we're going through in life. We're not quite sure how to deal with it. How do we handle this issue? Okay, it goes down and down. Then it goes back up and up and up. The point is this: your feelings often change. Let's set the relationship, any relationship, aside for a second. Okay, I want you to think about something. How often during the day does your feelings about your life change up and down? Think about it. How often in your day do you have, okay, now I'm feeling happy about my life. Now I'm feeling a little bothered about my life. Maybe I'm feeling a little bored. Maybe I'm feeling a little depressed about this day. Oh, coronavirus hit. Now I'm a little bit more depressed. Oh, now I'm feeling good because my kids are here. Or now I'm feeling good because I have a new relationship. Or, ups, downs, ups, downs. You get where I'm going with that? Emotions shift constantly. Okay? So if you're basing your decisions in life based on your emotions, you're in for a world of pain. Okay? But if you can learn to make your decisions based on your choices, okay, your commitments, in other words, then then it's going to do this. And so I'll give an example with myself, okay? For me, for example, if I'm in a relationship, I can do this. Okay, we're having a good day. Guess what? I'm still committed to the person. Okay, now we're having a bad day. Guess what? I'm still committed to the person. Why? Because my commitment to them hasn't changed. Only my feelings has changed. Okay? My feelings has shifted up and down. My feelings is what's moving up and down based on the situations I go through. Okay? My commitment has never shifted. Okay? If you can make your decisions based on your commitment to someone, based on your decision, I want to be with them, no matter what, okay, then your decision is not going to be based on your feelings going like this, okay? And here's why. This is your commitment. This is your commitment or your decision to be with someone. If your decision to be with someone is sitting and resting with your feelings, then guess what's going to happen? Oh, now, oh, I want to be with them. Oh, now I don't. Oh, I want to be with them. Oh, now I don't. Oh, I want to be with them. Oh, now I don't. But if you can learn to sit your choices and your decisions about your relationship on your commitment to them and not on your feelings and separate it from your feelings, then this is going to go up and down while this one goes straight across. You understand? That's the key point. The second thing I want to say to you is this. Never make the mistake in your life to think that someone else is responsible for how you feel. Okay? Let me tell you this. Your feelings are completely in charge by your mind. Okay? Not my mind. My mind can't control how you feel. Okay? My mind, my emotions, anything about me cannot control what you decide to feel. Okay? What you decide to feel is based on you and you alone. Okay? I'll give you an example. Let's say a bully in school is picking on you. Okay? You can decide, A, I'm going to let them bother me and I'm going to express it. Or B, you could say, I'm not going to express anything and I'm going to ignore them. Okay? Both decisions you make, but one decision is going to have a negative consequence. The other decision is going to have a positive consequence. Why? Because you're not feeding the fire. Okay? Getting back to the point that I was making a second ago. No one else is responsible for your emotional state. You are. Okay? That how you feel is directly between you and God. Okay? That's it. Okay? Now don't get me wrong. Other people's actions, other people's words, they can influence how you feel. But make no mistake, how you've chosen to feel in any given moment in your life is solely your choice. Okay? Let me give an example. Someone cuts you off on the road, or someone says something that bothers you. Okay? You can choose, okay, I'm going to let it bother me. And I'm going to express it. Okay? And this is going to get on my nerves. And da-da-da-da. Okay? You can express it. You're going to let it bother you. Or you can go, I'm not going to let this bother me. I'm going to stay cool. I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to still enjoy my life. I'm going to still enjoy my day no matter what. Okay? You can let things bother you or not. But who's the one that makes the choice of whether something's bothering you or not? You. Not me. I can't make choices for you. You do that. God can make choices with you, but he's not going to make choices for you either. Okay? Just as I'm not responsible for how another person feels, he's not responsible for how you feel. He loves how you feel. He's going to help how you feel. Okay? But he doesn't make any choices. This is something called free will. Because free will exists, that means you are the only person in charge of what you do, what you say, what you think, what you feel. Okay? Now, as I said before, getting back to the whole point of this video in the first place, okay? You have to learn as a person to place your commitment to someone or your relationship or whatever you're making a decision about based outside of your feelings, up here, consistently, okay? How do you do that? You simply do like this. Okay. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm dating someone. Let's say I'm with someone. And let's just hypothetically say that, okay? And I'm going to just use my life in general. I'll use a past example. Okay, let's say my kid's mother. Let me use that one for example, as an example, okay? Let's say we go back in time when I was with my kid's mother, okay? Now, I could say, okay, I'm going to base how I feel about my relationship, if I should be with the person or not, based off of what I feel. Okay? But you notice that's going to go up and down, left and right, shift all over the place. Okay? If I'm basing my decision to stay with them based on how I feel, I'm in for a world of problems. Okay? But if I'm deciding to make my decision to be with them based outside of my feelings, by realizing that that is a choice, and choices can be separate from your feelings. In fact, majority of the time, choices are always separate. Okay? This is the difference between walking with God and only pretending to walk with God. Okay? And here's why. Those people who walk with God based on the ups and downs. Oh, okay, God, my life is really good right now, so I'm walking with you, God. Oh, now my life is a problem, so I'm going to abandon you, God. Okay? It's the same principle as the feelings, because they're basing their commitment to God or their relationship with God based on how they feel at the moment. So in relationships, is this: if you get into a relationship, oh, I get into a relationship, I want the lovey-dovey feelings. Okay, that's good and everything is wonderful with that. But just don't base the goodness of your relationship based on what you feel. Okay, feelings shift and change all over the place. You're going to be in a world of hurt and a world of ups and downs, and you're going to be stressed out and constantly confused if you base whether or not you should be with someone based off of your feelings. Okay? Everybody wants a healthy, good relationship. Okay? But there are key things that are needed for a healthy, good relationship. One of the key things for any healthy, good relationship that you need, okay, is an open platform of communication. What does that mean? That means when it comes to communication, you both should always be able to say whatever you feel, good or bad. Okay? Because that's going to cultivate, when you have that ability to have that comfort zone of going, I can say whatever I feel to the person, then you don't have that trigger that happens to shut down. Okay? But the big mistake that a lot of people make is they try to shut the other person. Well, you're offending me. What you're saying is bothering me, or what you're saying is hurting, or what you're saying is upsetting me, or something. Okay? So now I don't want you to do that. So now what you've done is you've made the person shut down themselves emotionally. And you've now taken a conversation area that's been clean and comfortable and open conversation status, okay? And you've now made it uncomfortable, okay? Because you've taken away the ability to say what you feel. And by the way, saying what you feel, that has to come from both sides. So if one side is able to say whatever they feel, the other side has the same right, okay? Now, I'm a firm believer in free will, okay? I'm a big firm believer in that, okay? Anyone under the sun has the right to make their own choices for themselves and choose what they're going to do, okay? In life. You have to decide, are you going to base your relationships, or are you going to base, and it doesn't even have to be relationships, are you going to base anything you decide to do in life based on your feelings at the moment, or based on your choice to do it? Okay? I'll give you an example in the Bible. This is why there are examples in the Bible when people can be feeling so low about their life could be going haywire, going bananas, right? And they still manage to find that place of steadiness up here, even though your life is down here. You want a good example of it? I'll tell you a good example. Job, okay? Job was having so many problems in his life, okay? So he didn't, in his story, he did not choose to base his commitment to God or his relationship with God, or he didn't even try to, okay, let me rephrase that. He didn't base his relationship with God, nor his value of God, nor his position with God, meaning the status of his relationship, based on what was going on in his life. Meaning he didn't look at his relationship with God and go, oh, okay, because I'm going through problems, now I'm not with God. You understand? or God don't love me anymore, or God's abandoned me. This is a problem that a lot of people tend to do. They equate God with good feelings. And they do make the same mistake in relationships. You can never go into any relationship, you can never go into any kind of relationship, no matter what kind it is, or any kind of situation, and base it off of your feelings. Okay? Again, why? Because feelings go up and down. Okay? You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. No relationship in the world can avoid an argument, a disagreement, whether it's a healthy disagreement or, then no relationship can ever not have a problem. Why? Because people are broken. In other words, people are faulty. People have a nature, a sinful nature. Means they're not perfect. Okay? If people were perfect, you would not have disagreements. You would be able to have a relationship without any problems. Okay? But that's not the case that we live in. So you have to take people as they are, broken, with problems, with issues. Okay? And that means you also have to learn to accept someone for the good of them and for the bad of them. Okay? But what I'm teaching you in this session right now, or in this, sharing, doesn't just apply to relationships. You learning to choose outside of your feelings, that can have drastic changes for your life. Okay? Huge changes for your life. Okay? Let me give you a prime example. When I realized in myself that half of the things in my life I didn't have to worry about, I was putting unneeded stress on myself because I was worrying about things that were outside of my control. Okay? Or I was stressing about things or being anxious about things that are outside of what I can control. I freed myself from so much stressors in my life. I went, okay, let me think here. I could whine and complain about the bus being late, but can I control the bus? No, I can't. So why would I waste that kind of energy on being upset about the bus being late if I can't control it? This is another mistake I made with my kid's mother. I let myself get upset over what she chose to do. That was not my concern. My concern should have always been be there for my kids, which for the majority of the time it was. Okay? But I let the negativity of the spouse or the person badly influence me. This is why the Bible says, bad company corrupts good character. If you stick around a bad company long enough, guess what's going to happen to your character? It's going to become bad. Okay? You have to learn to distinguish what's healthy for you, what's not. Okay? Secondly, if you're going through any kind of situation, okay, where you're in a storm at the moment in your life, or you're in a storm in something you're going through, okay, and you're unable to figure out how to make it through it, okay, and you're unable to figure out what's the point of this storm. The point of the storm is to help you, teach you where you need to work harder at. Let me give you a prime example, okay? By going through the storm with my kid's mother to learn that communication is vital, I went through the storm of having to deal with watching our communication go from good to nothing. And I'll elaborate just a little bit. At the start of the relationship that I had with my kid's mother, things were healthy. Things were okay. Okay? It was okay. Things were all right. Communication was good. Somewhere along the lines, something triggered that made that comfort zone of open communication drop. Whether it be something that was said that hurt the person, or something that of honesty that upset the person that they didn't want to hear. Okay? That situation then triggered the communication to change from being open, where you have an open platform of being able to say how you feel, to, okay, now I got to watch what I say. And that's when you know you're getting into a problem. When you know that you're in communication and now you have to start watching what you say, and you have to walk on eggshells and be very careful about what you're saying, you're starting to tread down dark waters. Okay? I'll just be as simple as I can about it. Okay? That's a road that leads to drifting apart when it comes to communication. Okay? How did my kid's mother and I go from caring about each other to downright hating each other at the very end of the divorce? How did we get there? By the communication getting toxic. By the communication going from healthy to now we got to watch what we say and we can't say what we feel. So now we have to keep everything we feel inside our heart instead of sharing it with the other person like we're supposed to do. So then instead of sharing what you feel, you start locking away everything you feel. And then that starts venting out in other areas of your life. And then you start having arguments and disagreements over things that don't really matter. And now you're having disagreements and arguments over things that don't really matter. And now you start drifting away and you just slowly stop talking to each other. And when you do talk, it's usually, with me and my kid's mother, it ended up being we would only talk if it has to do with the kids. Or if it had to do with the household. But when it came to communication between me and her, oh, there was none. There was none. There was none. There was none. Hey, how you doing today, baby? There was none. I love you. I miss you. Kisses. There was none. There was nothing. How you doing today? Is there anything I can do to make your day better? There was none of that. Okay? Why? Because by that time, the communication had died. And when your communication dies, then you have a problem. So let me put it in a way of medical, okay? When your communication goes bad, that's like your heart having a heart attack, okay? So let's picture for a second a healthy heart, okay? It's beating strong, it's beating firmly, boom, 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 okay? It's functioning the way it should. That healthy heart represents open, clean communication where you can say whatever you happen to feel. And you're not met with judgment, you're not met with, okay, you need to not do that or not say that. You're able to be who you are, say what you feel, and put it all out there. Why? Because the relationship or any relationship that you have with someone is supposed to be that way, where you can be open and honest with them. And what you do when you try to shut them down is you make them not end up being honest with you. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you want someone who's going to be honest with you if that means that sometimes they're going to say something that I don't want to hear or that bothers me? Or do you want a communication with someone where you're unable to say what you feel and therefore they're not being honest with you? Okay, so you have to choose. Okay, but let's get back to the heart thing. So you have healthy communication. You have a heart that's beating strongly, right? Okay, now someone says something. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Oh. Okay, that rubbed me the wrong way. That's got me bothered a little bit. Okay, now the heart's starting to slow down. Now it's starting to have problems. Okay, now the monitoring of the heart is going bad. It's slowing down. It's having issues. Okay. And now what? Now the heart has to go to the hospital. Okay. The heart has to go see the doctor. So in people with faith, what does that mean if your heart has to go see the doctor? It means you have to take your emotions and you have to take your emotional problems and take them to God and have Him deal with them. God, what am I doing wrong? God, where did I go wrong with this? Ask His advice and seek Him. How do you seek Him? In the Word of God. Read the Word of God. That's how you find out. God talks to you majority of the time through that Word. Okay? There are plenty of Bibles. Ephesians, Romans, Colossians, Philippians. All about attitudes. Okay? All about attitudes and how you feel and things like that. Okay? Now, when you have your heart and it has to go to the hospital, that means you have to take it to God. Now, let's say, for example, you don't happen to believe in God. Okay, well, that still means you have to go to the hospital emotionally. That means you still have to fix the issue emotionally. But the problem for a lot of the people in the world is when they have no God or no maker, they have no way to fix it. So what happens? they either communicate with each other and talk it out and come to some sort of compromise, or they drift apart. Okay? And that's your heart. Your heart either has to be, let's say your heart slows down and stops, right? You have to get shocked. Clear, right? To get your heart going again. Okay? You have to do the same thing with your communication. You have to do something to revitalize that communication. This is why I'm telling you guys, marriage is hard work. You have to put in the work. And that means there's going to be days when you're sweating, when you're bleeding, when you're not physically bleeding, but emotionally bleeding. There's going to be days when you're going to be tired, exhausted from all the work you have to put into that relationship. Okay? But if you value the relationship, you're going to do it. Okay? You can never in your life ask someone not to be who they are and think that your relationship is going to be healthy, or that your communication with them is going to be healthy, for that matter. And this, like I said, this again can go outside of relationships. You can apply this just to you. You can say to yourself, I'm never going to be truly happy with myself in my life if I can't be honest about how I feel about things. Okay, if I can't say, okay, in this moment I feel this, in this moment I feel that. Okay, this is called the avoidance tactic. And let me just let you know, the avoidance tactic, okay, is the same as fighting with someone. It does the same result. Okay, if you choose to avoid things and never deal with them, you're doing this exact same thing as if you were to argue, because you're taking yourself down the same path. If you're arguing with someone, what happens? You fight, you argue, right? Now, let's go the other way. If you avoid a problem, you may be able to avoid that argument in that moment, but later down the road, you're going to have a huge fit because the person is now not venting. They're closing off, okay? And I was a prime example of this when I was younger. When I was younger, I had a huge problem with keeping everything inside my heart, not sharing it, and not letting it out, not expressing it. This is why now in my life, I try to journal. Okay, and I've been getting better back to it, which I should have done a long time ago. But journaling allows you to vent. Okay, now I happen to be a solitude person a lot of the time on my day, basically sticking in my house a lot. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. Okay, but it means I still have to have a venting thing, and that's my venting. Journaling is my venting. Typing is my like typing up studies, or using my own life as example when I'm doing any sort of study or help video. Okay. True love, true marriage is not about you choosing to be with someone when things feel good. True love and true marriage is about sticking with them through thick and thin, no matter what. Whether good days, good feelings, bad days, bad feelings. Okay? When you truly understand how to set your choices way up here, outside of your feelings. Okay? In other words, you're not basing your choices off of what you feel. You're not going, okay, well, in this moment I feel like this. So this is what I'm going to do. Oh, okay, now in this moment I feel differently. So now this is what I'm going to do. Oh, okay, in this moment I feel a little bit differently now. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay? If you constantly make your choices based on your feelings, you're going to be all over the place. You're not going to have any sort of sense of direction in your life. Because your priorities and your commitments are out of whack. They're not where they should be. Okay? Just as with the story of Job. Job knew where his commitment was. I am God's no matter what. Okay, I might be going through some crap right now. I might be going through some issues in my life right now. My life might suck. My life might be horrible right now. Satan might be hitting me with all sorts of mess. But guess what? My commitment is still with God. And that hasn't changed. Okay? That's the same if you can learn to do it in your life. Okay? When the moment you can learn to do that, and the moment you can start picking up on that habit of thinking, then trust me, you're going to change your whole world in your mind and in your heart. So much stuff is going to change because you're going to learn how to set your commitments outside of your feelings. And that is what's going to happen to where you're able to set any choice you make on firm foundation where it does not sink, it does not move. Okay? So let me ask you this final question. Do you want to set your choices and your decisions in life based on something that is as shifting as emotions? Or are you going to base your decisions and your choices in life outside of your emotions on something as firm, okay, that's firm as your decision, as your choice making, as your commitment? I call it commitment. There might be another word for it, like faith or whatever, but you know, I'm not quite sure exactly what word to use, so that's why I've chosen to say my commitment. My commitments are outside of my feelings. My commitments are not on my feelings. They're outside of my feelings. They're way up here, okay? So if I say, okay, I'm going to, hey, yo, William, I'm going to do this, okay? Now I've made a vow with my words, so I need to honor that commitment, right? That's commitment. Okay? It doesn't matter what, okay, I feel tired, okay, I feel hungry, okay, I feel this, okay, I feel that. That shifts. But I still made that commitment. Okay? And your commitment is outside of your feelings. Or at least it should be. If your commitment is based on what you feel, oh, okay, well, right now I'm with this person and they are so lovey-dovey and everything's wonderful because we are so cute together. Okay? We are so, it's so nice. Okay, wait a minute. You're basing your relationship on feelings. So there's going to be a test that comes. There's going to be a test that comes in that relationship or in that situation, whether it's a friendship, relationship, whatever. There's going to be a test that comes. Okay? And that test is going to be whether or not you're going to, when your feelings change, are you going to quit and up here feelings are good. Then everything's lovey-dovey, so I want to be with them, I want to marry them, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with them. Okay, way up here, on your feelings, right? Okay, you're up here, your commitment's up here, but what happens? You're going to have a test. Whoop. Oh, your feelings dropped. So now comes the question, where's your commitment? That's the question. Where's your commitment? At that point, when things drop, when things shift, when things change, where's your commitment? Where's your commitment at? Is it still up here? Or is it going wherever your feelings are going? Okay? Is it going wherever your feelings are going? In other words, okay? If your commitment is like this, watch what happens to your commitment. Your commitment is never going to be steady. Your commitment is because it's based on your feelings. And feelings always shift. But if your commitment is up here and your feelings are doing this, your commitment is still staying steady. Because it's outside of it. It's on your choices. It's on your decisions that you've made outside of your feelings. Okay? This is something that I've learned because my goal in life is to get to a point where the world around me could fall apart. And I'm still going to be calm and collected. And the only way to do that I've been able to figure out so far is to set your commitments and your decisions you make up here outside of your feelings. Okay? There's days, let me give you another example. There's days when I feel lonely. There's days I feel depressed. There's days when I don't even want to climb out of bed. There's days when I miss the heck out of my kids. Okay? If I base my life and the importance of my life and the decisions I make about my life, during my life, based on what I feel at the moment, then I'm going to end up making some pretty bad decisions. Okay? This is how people get to the areas of, I want to commit suicide, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to start drinking, I want to smoke cigarettes. Okay? Because they're basing their commitment off of what they feel. Feelings can be good if they're led by God. If they're led by love. And I'm not talking about fake love of the world. This soap opera love that you hear on the radio or that you see in movies where it never has a problem. It's always loving and it never has any issue whatsoever. Okay? If you want to know what a true marriage is, go watch the movie called Fireproof. That'll tell you point blank. No matter what happens, ups or downs, but you have to base your relationship and your feelings in God. Okay? If you don't base your decisions and your feelings in God, you have no sense of direction. Okay? And that means you have no compass. And when you have no compass, then that means you're going to be all over the doggone place, emotionally. Okay? Outside of your feelings. Remember that. Not in your feelings, outside of your feelings. That does not mean don't feel things. That does not mean don't get upset. That does not mean don't get angry if something bothers you. That does not mean don't talk things out. That does not mean don't communicate. That does not mean any of that mess. In fact, you dealing with your feelings is a good thing. Okay? God gave you feelings for a reason. Even God has feelings. Hello? Okay? Even God himself has feelings. We're made in his image. Remember that. Okay? So feelings itself is not bad. It's when we make choices based on our feelings that are bad. I'll give you an example. Here's a huge one. Huge one. Okay? Satan made a decision based on his feeling. Cain made a decision based on his feeling. David, when he saw the pretty woman, made a decision based on his feeling. Okay? Herod made a decision on his feeling. We can continue. The Pharisees made a decision on his feeling. On their feelings. Okay? You see where that's going? You see where that's going? The people who crucified Jesus, guess what? Made their decision on a feeling. And here's the key about feelings. Feelings are only ever good when they're brought into submission to God. Okay? You feeling happy? Nothing wrong with it. You feeling funny or silly? Nothing wrong with it. You feeling joyful? Nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, the Bible tells you there are feelings that are good. Then there's feelings that are bad. It tells you to cling to the feelings that are good. It tells you to avoid and stay away from the feelings that are bad. Okay? But in all feelings, still has to be submitted to God. Okay? Thank you for the time. I hope that this has hurt somebody. I hope that somebody has kind of understood this. Okay? To some degree. I hope that it's touched somebody in order to be able to help them in their life. Thank you.